new to us. In primary school, Sunday school, at home, we are all taught the 10 commandments. But I thought it wise during this Lenten period for us to reflect again on the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments, you may recall, is divided into 2 parts. The first part talks about our duty to God, our relationship, our duty to God. And the second part of it, which is the first 4 parts, talks about our duty to God, and the rest of the 6 parts of the commandment talks about our duty to ourselves and to our neighbor. Our duty to ourselves and to our neighbor. But let's go through the commandment quickly and try to picture out, have you been living according to this commandment? The first commandment tells us that God himself is speaking to the Israelite in Exodus chapter 20 verse 1 downwards. He says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. God is assigning his own authority and law given to us. I am the Lord thy God. God is the Lord. Jehovah, self-exiled, independent, eternal. This is the God. I am the Lord thy God. There is no other God. There is only one God. This is the Creator. This is the super God. This is the God we have the covenant with. This is the God who brought us out of the land of Egypt. This is the God we worship. This is the true God. He says we should not have any photocopy God. We should not have any image God. But we should only have him as our supreme God. The second commandment tells us that thou shalt not make to thyself any graven image. In other words, we should not have any false god, any idols that we will go and bow down and worship. We should worship God alone and him alone. Why? Because God is a jealous God. Especially in the things of the earthly world in which we live. For possession, for wealth, for higher authority. We should have none other God, only him alone. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. This is the third commandment. He says we should not be using God's name as we wish, as we want to. No. As long as it takes us during the time when we were going through as the Israelites do, they believing that this is their God. They were with the God, worshiping God, respecting their God. We should not change the name of the Lord thy God. We should still use God's name needfully, as ever as it was before, even in the good times and in the bad times. But many of us, we have now changed. We use God's name wrongly. We blaspheme his name. We use it hypocritically. We mocked his name. In a little word we want to say, I swear to God, Papa God. We just use it anyhow. But it says we should not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. It's not only that. He's even telling us, even if we do, it says he will not hold us guiltless. He will punish us. The fourth commandment tells us, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. In other words, we should recognize the manner of days we walk. Take into recognition the days that are set aside to worship him alone and him alone. That is the day, the Sabbath day is the day that God blesses us. The Sabbath day is the day that God sanctifies us. It is a day that is set aside for the religious beliefs, for us to observe it. Are you recognizing the Sabbath day? Do you keep the Sabbath day holy? Do you pay attention to the Sabbath day? The fifth commandment tells us, honor thy father and thy mother. This is the commandment that gives us a promise. But when we talk about our father and our mother, it's not only talking about our biological parent, it's talking about our elders. Why? Because it's a decent respect to our parents. But many children of today, they don't. They count their voices of their parents. Their parents send them, they tell them, no, I cannot go. I am tired. I am going out. I am doing another thing. But the commandment tells us, honor thy father and thy mother, so that thy days may be long in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. I used to say, the reasons why we have many young people dying is because they don't keep the commandment. The elders are there because they believe in the commandment, and that is why. So what is your own challenge? Honor your parents. When they send you, go. When they ask for something, give them assistance, give them the need. The sixth commandment tells us, thou shalt not kill. In other words, thou shalt do no murder. Thou shalt not do anything that is hurtful or injury to anyone's health or the life of anybody. Thou shalt not kill. Life does not belong to you. In other words, secure it, respect it, value it. It is God's own life. God gave us life. So thou shalt not kill. Many of us, in one way or the other, we have killed. We have done so many things that is not pleasing in God's eyes. But the commandment is reminding us, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt do no murder. The life does not belong to you. The life belongs to God. Thou shalt not commit adultery is the seventh commandment. Thou shalt not commit adultery. This commandment forbids the act of uncleanness with the lust of the flesh and lust of the eyes. The world today is a sinful world. We are lost in the flesh. We are lost in the eyes. But the commandment is reminding us, thou shalt not commit adultery. Lust of the eye. You look at a young girl, you look at a young person because of the way he or she dressed. Oh, my goodness, I wish I have this one. I wish, just because you are lost in the flesh. The eighth commandment tells us, thou shalt not steal. This commandment forbids us to rob ourselves or to do that is a sinful nature of spending ignorantly. It is a right. It is not to take the right of what does not belong to us, but another